Hi everyone, it's Laura from Crafty Not Shifty, and today I'm going to be experimenting with you using black inks and different types of mediums so we can see which ones work well together. So the first thing I did is I had a look around my craft room and I pulled out all of the black inks that I could find, and I created a grid which has got the name of the ink on the left hand side there, and then some different types of mediums across the top. So we've got Copic or alcohol ink markers, we've got some pencil blending solution, and then water or Zig Clean colour pens, which is what I'll be using. So I'm doing a fresh stamp in this first column here, so you can see the difference between what the ink looks like when it's freshly stamped and what it looks like when it's had some time to dry. So some of these inks stamp really clear straight from the start, which is what this one's like here. So this is the Ultra New Crisp ink, but some of these inks actually stamp a little bit splotchy, but then they smooth out and they look great. Some of them are splotchy permanently, particularly the Distress ink, but that's partly because it's more of a technique ink than for stamping. So now I'm just using one of my alcohol ink markers. This is a Copic marker, and I'm just colouring in each of those squares, and you can see straight away some of the inks work really well with Copic, so they're what might be referred to as Copic friendly or Copic safe. But for some of these inks, the ink will just smear and smudge, which isn't what you want when you've stamped an image on a card that you know you're going to go ahead and colour in with a Copic marker or any other alcohol ink pen. So you want to make sure that you're using the right type of ink, that it's crisp enough and that it's compatible with the type of colouring medium that you're using. So that's what today's about, and I'm going to just work my way through this sheet. I'm going to colour in each of these boxes, and then I'll zoom in and we can talk through which of the inks are compatible and which ones aren't. So I'm doing the same thing here with the pencil and then the pencil blending solution, and I went ahead and did all of those, and then I came in with a little scribble of my Zig Clean colour pen, and just to make sure that there's a whole bunch of water on this paper, I then also blended that out with some water. Okay, so kicking off with the Memento Tuxedo black ink, this is the ink pad that I have here. It stamps really well straight from the start. It is safe with alcohol markers and pencil blending solution, but with the water I did find that it smears a little bit. So Versafine Onyx Black, I use this a lot for stamping sentiments because it's really black and it's really crisp. But it's not so great with Copics, and it doesn't really work with the pencil blending solution, but it is waterproof. Moving on to the Stays On Jet Black ink, as you can see here it stamps well straight from the get-go, however it's not compatible with Copics, but it did work with the pencil blending solution and with the water. Okay, so onto the Ranger Archival ink. This ink stamps really nicely, but it's not so great with Copics and it's not so great with the pencil blending solution, but it is waterproof. And then the Simon Says Stamp Intense Black ink. This was the only ink that worked right across the board. They have a regular ink pad, or they have this intense black ink pad, which is formulated to work with Copics and with watercolour, and I also found that it works really well with the pencil blending solution that I use. So this Ultra New Crisp ink, I have the mini ink pad. These are available in full-size ink pads as well. Both work just the same. I just decided that for me, I would get the Ultra New collection in the mini ink pads. Stamps really well, really crisp, but it's not so great with Copics or with watercolour. So then I've got a really inexpensive pigment ink pad. This came in a set of like 30 colours, and they're brilliant for adding colour on solid images, but not so great for something that you're going to want to colour with Copics or pencils, or pencils where you're going to use blending solution or water. And then the same with the Distress ink. Distress inks are brilliant for techniques, they're great for ink blending, they're a wonderful ink and I really enjoy them, and I'm going to try and do a separate video just on Distress inks. However, they don't work so great with watercolours or pencil blending solution or Copics. Okay, so there you have my breakdown of the different inks and what they work with and what they don't work with. I think everybody has a place in their craft room for multiple black inks. I think the Simon Says Stamp Intense Black ink is great if you want one all-rounder. However, I do really enjoy using the Versafine or the Ultra New Crisp ink for sentiments or anything that I want to be really, really black straight away. So I find myself reaching for the Memento ink when I know I'm going to be colouring with Copics. That's usually my go-to ink. And I would go for the Stays On version, so the Stays On Jet Black ink, whenever I know I'm going to be stamping on a slick surface such as acetate. So each of these inks has a place in my collection. I have a favourite for each type of, so either a sentiment where I want it to be really crisp, if I know I'm colouring in Copics, if I know I'm using watercolour, or if I know that I'm stamping on a slick surface. However, if I don't know what I'm going to be doing with something yet, so I'm stamping it down maybe for a colouring challenge where I'm going to get to it in a few days, I definitely go for the Simon Says Stamp Intense Black ink. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed this video and I hope you've learned a little bit more about black inks. If you've enjoyed it, please leave a comment below or give me a thumbs up, and I'll be back again soon with some more Crafting 101 videos. That's all from me. Bye for now. On screen right now you can see a couple more videos from me that I think you might enjoy. If you haven't already watched those, then please go ahead and click on the thumbnail and it will take you straight through to the videos. I hope to see you again soon.